Welcome to the Brubacher Beyond podcast, where we are shaping the world we live in so more people can find the construction industry uncommonly refreshing. So today is one of those Brubacher and Beyond podcasts. This is definitely a beyond, not internal person, but I'll swing it over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ryan Parrish. I'm one of the damage prevention liaisons with Pennsylvania 811. And I cover the areas of Berks, Lehigh, Northampton, and School counties in PA.
That's a large area geographically. And Ryan, what do you do? I don't want to get ahead because we were talking a little bit about, we should have recorded that a little bit, but can you explain to people in the industry or people that are not in the industry, like what is your role and what do you do on a daily basis a little bit? Give us a snapshot.
Yeah, so 811 is essentially the communications network. I'm the liaison, so I'm the go-between for the excavator to try to get in contact with the liaison or the engineer, and the same thing with the engineers and the facility owners. If they need to get hold of excavators, I'm the go-to guy.
So you're the contact, and in our world, we would contact your company and request a mark out for utilities, which we do all the time. We have a utilities division. Sean and Steve have been on the podcast before, so if you want to know more about utilities, you can go to that podcast. But your company is the liaison between us and any utilities that would have infrastructure underground, water, sewer, power.
Yeah, so in a perfect world, we will have the excavator dial 811, call us, and then we shoot that notification out right away to anybody who has any underground utilities where you're working. Then the utility owners use our system to respond back to the excavators so they're aware of anything there that they could potentially damage when they're digging.
Yeah. So, and this is not just for people that are excavating. Like, what's the rule if you're digging for 811?
So there's a couple things to take notice. You always have to respect the tolerance zone, which is 18 inches from wherever they put those utility lines down. Like I said, we're going to notify those utilities, so they're going to come and put those utility lines down, and you have to just wait 3 business days before you start digging into the ground.
Yeah, so like if I'm a homeowner and I'm digging, I call 811.
Yep.
If I'm an excavation company, I call 811.
Yeah, so excavation companies, if you dial 811, it's not going to be free for excavation company. Unfortunately, it's going to be $125 a year, which may sound expensive, but it's the cost
Part of doing business.
And it potentially could save a life when you're dialing 811 because you get those utility markings, which could potentially be a gas line, water line, cutting out people's service. So we always say it's very important to dial 811 beforehand just to make sure everything's good to go.
And so how long you been doing this and what's your background? And
so my background's in public safety. I worked at a prison for about 10 years, juvenile detention center. I was one of the supervisors there. Gotten into the utility world. Somebody said, hey, you like to talk? So why don't you go share the message about 811?
Oh, nice.
Got wrapped up in the 811 around the pandemic. Then everything shut down. Then really gave me some time to learn the job before the world opened back up again.
Yeah, so headquarters is in Pittsburgh.
Yep, our main office is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. More specifically, West Mifflin, if you're familiar with that area. And that's our hub. That's where it all started. Like I said, we have 12 liaisons across the state. So
you're one of 12.
I'm one of 12.
Oh, I mean, you think about Pennsylvania, how big it is. Yeah. Like, you're one of 12 that cover all that territory. So I don't know if you want to describe to people that aren't familiar in the construction industry, why is it important to, well, one, it's the law, right? Like if you're digging, we got to do this, but you're essentially supporting not to interrupt infrastructures, right? Like you don't want to damage anything. So what normally happens? Like what's the flow of someone calls in 811? What happens on the back end? If you can give us behind the scenes, because from what I understand, we call 811 or we fill out the forms online and it's sent out. And then all this stuff behind the scenes goes in motion. If you could explain that to everybody.
So hopefully whoever's calling 811 got some training from me. That's another thing I do. I did all the local training so I can educate everybody on 811. But essentially when you call 811, it's going to go to our customer service representative. They're going to take that ticket. They're going to map that ticket. And there's certain rules that they're looking for. There's things they're going to take notice of. the footage, how big your project is. If your project's greater than 1,000 feet, they're going to want you to have a complex project meeting to discuss everything with the utilities that are there. Not every utility can handle a larger project that's greater than 1,000 feet, so they want to have a discussion with you to see, hey, when you're going to start this job, when you're going to finish this job, and what's the amount of footage that we can handle before you can actually start excavating in the ground. Because if you have that meeting with everybody and the facility owners are going to say, hey, we can only give you 2,000 feet, 1,000 feet, 500 feet, it's good to know that stuff ahead of time before you start digging into the ground and your job gets delayed. So our customer service representatives are looking at all that information. If you're somebody who routinely keeps calling in these larger projects that are greater than 1,000 feet, you're going to get a call from me and we're going to try to educate you guys on the right way to put these tickets in. So again, these larger tickets, they need to be complex projects, and that's a whole nother thing where you're going to have a meeting with everybody and, like I said, have that discussion to make sure everybody's on the same page.
And so then those complex projects, they're like chunks, right? Like, Let's just say it's a mile of something that's getting replaced. You're not going to just mark out the mile all in one. Yeah. You're going to do it in chunks.
Yeah, you're going to want to know when they're going to start, when they're going to finish, their timeline. You don't want to mark the entire job, then rain comes and wipes away everything because you didn't preserve the markings.
Yeah.
So it's generally just want to make sure you have that discussion so everybody's on the same page. Same thing with the townships. If you're going to be blocking a major road, have flagger force out. You're going to want to let the schools know because the buses are going to get delayed in the morning. Mm-hmm. You're going to want the fire to know, police to know. So that the whole community needs to be aware. And who's better to relay that information is usually the township because they have the direct contact with the police, with the fire, with the schooling. And they can let them know, hey, this project's going to be here for 1 year. This project's going to be here for 2 years. Just give them a heads up so everything's good to go.
And like I said, you don't know any of that stuff behind the scenes, right? Like you just said, fire, police, ambulance, like all those services are notified. So some people are like, oh, why do I got to call 811 if I'm doing a dig? This is the reason why, right? Because all these things get interrupted while that process is going on. So in a perfect world, you mentioned local training. So what do you do for the community for training? Or if I'm somebody who's just getting into the business or am thinking about getting into the business, like what kind of training is available?
So I'll train you from the general 811 law, how to place tickets, what type of tickets we should be placing, what to do when you get to the job site and there's no markings on the ground. I'll train the facility owners on the best practices, put the lines on the ground for the excavators. And I'll even go one further. We go and we train the designers and engineers, the people who want the projects done. They're usually getting a job requested from a project owner, and we're trying to get in a hold of those project owners and train them also so everybody's on the same page. We don't want a project owner expecting to get, hey, maybe we can have 6,000 feet and you're the facility owner, you're the excavator, you know you're not going to get 6,000 feet. But that project owner doesn't know that because he was never trained by us. So we're trying to train the project owners from the projects from conception to construction. That's not always easy as it sounds because the project owners aren't always in state. They're usually just hiring somebody out of state to come do the work. But as soon as we get a hold of them, that makes the projects go a lot smoother also.
So a big thing is communication, you pointed out earlier.
Yep.
So how did you learn how to communicate? Like we talk a lot, it's pretty fluent here. Like what was your background or?
My background is I worked at a juvenile detention center for about 10 years. I was a supervisor over there. So I got used to communicating with a lot of different personalities. And in this construction field, there's always going to be a lot of different personalities.
Never, ever. Not in the construction industry.
Yeah, people were angry. I got used to dealing with angry people, how to deal with confrontation, so I fit in naturally when people aren't getting their footage and how to facilitate that with the facility owners. And I'm a good mediator, put it that way. I had experience mediating.
I was just kind of digging a little, like before you got into the prison, what did you do before? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Pottstown, so not too far from my territory. It's about 45 minutes each way. Played a lot of sports growing up.
What sports did you play growing up? What's your background?
I played baseball in college. I was a first baseman, so if you know baseball, first base, we're good at communicating. We yell a lot other than just standing there at first. So that's part of where my communication. I played football growing up, big basketball player.
So all kinds of sports.
All kinds of sports. Now I'm getting a little old and I just try to golf.
Try to golf?
Just try to golf. And I said try.
Yeah, so. The frustration sport, right? Yep. Like all those other sports, you could just keep on working and chopping at the tree. But man, that golf is very frustrating. Where did you play baseball at?
Penn State Berks. So not too far from here.
Yeah.
Berks County.
That's awesome.
Did a year doing that. Got wrapped up into the prison through some people I play sports with, they went to the prison field and they said, hey, it might be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
Especially the juvenile, you can still be athletic, still run around and do stuff with them.
Yeah.
So it just fit naturally and just fell right into my lap. I
That's
fell in love with it. And then this fell into my lap also. And then I fell in love with that too.
You're passionate about it. You can see that you're very well educated in the background of the system. Another big point is safety. What do you see out there for safety and training, or what resources are out there for people?
Yeah, so we have a lot of things on our website. We have a lot of videos, how to use our application. We do these liaison libraries where we have a bunch of us liaisons talking about common issues out in the field. But one of the general things that I always see is we got to slow down a lot of these excavators so the facility owners can put those lines down the ground. Even when you call 811, you have to wait those 3 business days. We have a lot of excavators to wait before or to start digging before they get the lines into the ground from the facility owners, and they don't wait for that lawful start date, which causes a headache for the enforcement, which is the PUC, which a lot of people think I'm the enforcement. It's not PA1 call. The enforcement is completely separate. So anytime there's a damage or anything wrong, that's the PUC. They do all those investigations.
It's a separate entity.
Yeah, separate
that
entity
deals.
from PA1 call, and they deal with all the enforcement side of things.
So you're just the connector. You're the communicator, right? Yeah.
Yep.
You're not the enforcement.
No,
you're not
not the
you
enforcement.
don't have the ruler or the stick.
I give them recommendations to try to avoid enforcement. That's
Yeah.
what I say. We got to communicate. It's better to have that communication with the facility and the excavator than with the enforcement side and the PUC. Once they get involved, then fines can start getting sent out to everywhere. So very important to have that
I guess my question is, do people not know they have to wait till it gets marked out, or they just...
A lot of people are aware that they have to call, but they're not aware they have to wait 3 business days for the facility owners to come out and put the lines down on the ground.
Okay.
So they may see one line down on the ground the next day, but they have to wait 3 business days in case other facility owners are coming out also and putting multiple lines down also.
So if someone's driving down the street and they see a blue line, it's water, right?
Yep, you got to sign blues, water. Orange is going to be your communications. Yellow is going to be your gas, steam, petroleum. Green is going to be your sewer. Purple is your reclaimed water, your fracking water. If you see white, that's proposed excavation. So if you're an excavator, the only color you should have on you at all times is white, because you shouldn't be refreshing a facility owner's markings on the ground.
Okay.
Especially if a facility owner put the paint down the ground and it ultimately being wrong, and you refresh that markings, that's you now taking ownership of that utility line.
Oh, really?
And now you could get calls and potentially get fined. So we always
Okay.
recommend just re-notify 811 if you get to your job site and you notice that there's something wrong with the utility markings.
All right, so let's go down this path.
Sure.
This is a hot topic for some people.
Yeah.
Oh, the marking was there. So how does that happen? Or like someone's reading either the blueprint was marked wrong, or...
It could be human error. It could be lack of experience. It could be geographical conditions. That's why we always say to excavator, hey, the utility owners, they put the lines down on the ground. Unfortunately, you guys are going to have to verify those markings to make sure that they're good to go. Especially if you see multiple lines down on the ground. That's the facility owner saying, hey, we got multiple tones. So they unfortunately probably can just put multiple lines down on the ground. As an excavator, you see a line there, you have to add 18 inches from each outside edge, and that will give you your full tolerance zone where you're supposed to use prudent techniques when you're digging as an excavator.
Yeah, so if you come within that tolerance, be cautious, right?
Yep.
So one of the things that we do, and I'm sure you're aware of, but we'll vacuum excavate before. So we'll pothole the asphalt or core the asphalt, and then we'll dry vac it down with a vac excavator. 1, for safety, right? Because safety is a value. But then 2, just so our crews, they don't have to guess, right? They know exactly where it is. If it's not where it's marked, we can find out or hopefully get ahead of that.
And there's studies that show that vac truck is the most precise way to figure out where those utilities are, because you're going to visually verify where those utilities are.
Yeah.
A lot of people get the misconception that you don't need to place a PA1 call to use a vac truck, but if you have to break the surface with powered equipment to use the vac truck, then you have to place that PA1 call.
Oh, okay. So if you got to use a jackhammer or a core drill or whatever, that call has to be...
Yep, you're going to have to do that
placed
3 days in advance.
Okay. So how do you deal with the ebbs and flows of, if it's a 3-day advance, someone calls... I'm sure you get a lot more calls on a Monday than a Tuesday, or how do you guys keep up with that volume and the ups and downs of the calls?
Well, good thing we're only business days, so even if they notify on a Friday, It's just going to default to the first notification day, then will be Monday, because we don't work on Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
It's not a business day, right?
So Monday's call come in.
Friday, you have a call come in, and the first notification day would be that Monday.
Monday, okay.
Not Saturday or Sunday.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. We still take the tickets.
Okay.
I know during the pandemic, we close to 1 million tickets. Even this year, we're over 1 million tickets. The following year, we're over 1 million tickets. So in Pennsylvania, we place a lot of PA1 calls.
Wow. I didn't know it was that much volume.
Yeah.
1 million. What mechanisms or how do you guys stay on schedule with all those calls?
Well, we like to send it out. Like I said, we'll send it out right away to the facility owners.
Okay.
Hopefully, if you're placing a PA1 call using one of our online applications, it's a smaller project that's easily can be located for the facility owners. Like I said, those larger projects over 1,000 feet, you should be having a meeting with everybody to have that discussion anyway, so you know how many tickets to expect. So you're not just calling in 10, 15, 20 tickets. We're coming across a lot of those excavators. We call them those excavators who love to put in ticket runs. We're trying to stop all those ticket runs right now. We'll call you guys. We'll educate you. We'll tell you, hey, do a complex project meeting. We'll let you know about the 1,000-foot rule. And then hopefully you get educated by us, and then you guys start calling those tickets in properly.
Gotcha. So how was the 811 invented, or where'd your company come from, or what was the history behind it?
So luckily, the originator from a company, Bill Kiger, our president, he's still in our company.
Okay.
So if he's here right now, he'll give you the full spiel of how he started in the 70s and the 80s and how he did it. But essentially, we just there's a lot of utility damages. They came up with a solution and said, hey, we can come up with a system to coordinate and collaborate instead of just going to each individual party. We're going to have a system that's going to facilitate that for us. We're going to send a message out right away, let them know the excavation or demolition that's occurring. And then we'll send a notice out and have them locate their facilities.
Okay. What do you see in the industry that's coming, that's changing? I'm sure AI, right? Like AI is a buzz word right now with everything. But if you can go into AI, how you guys are utilizing it a little bit more. And then is there anything new coming out in the industry that's going to help us?
Our company is looking into AI. We're not currently using it.
Okay.
We may use it internally for some small things, but right now it's not rolled out into our system for PA1 call purposes.
Yep.
We're still focusing on Coordinate PA. That's our next generation of utility coordination. So any of those larger projects that I mentioned, over 1,000 feet, they have to be put into Coordinate PA to begin with, because we want these 1,000 feet, 2,000-foot projects. Well, originally how Coordinate PA was started is we had a lot of projects going on. We had a road open. Somebody comes, restore the road. Then a week later, somebody comes and just rips open that restored road.
Oh, okay.
So our president created Coordinate PA and say, hey, once you have your project in, somebody else can come and also do their project at the same time. If your guys' projects are going to overlap, then you guys can coordinate and collaborate and split the costs on restoring the road, rather than me just ripping the road up, doing what I need to do, paving it, getting the company in there. Then a week later, you just come rip up what I paved.
Yeah.
And then
Makes
we're
sense.
just wasting money.
Yeah. So that would be like an example would be like a water company, utilities, coordinate with like a power company or a gas company, and if those two projects are close to one another, they'll coordinate.
Coordinate PA is going to prompt them and say, hey, there's an opportunity to work with this project owner. Do you want to contact them? And like I said, if you got the road open, do what you need to do while the road's open, and you guys can split the costs on the paving company and restoring it, rather than both of you guys wasting a lot of money.
Yeah, because that's a big expense. I mean, even if you're doing a certain size of the road, you still have to mill it, pave it, or the whole road if it's that old, and the restorations can add up very quickly.
Coordinate Pay is just a good tool to let everybody know what projects are coming. Even if you do large civic events, parades, you can put the parades in there in the Coordinate PA. So if you're planning a project, like I'm not going to plan it on March 1st because I know we have a big giant parade going on March 1st.
Yeah.
Because we put that in Coordinate PA. So it's a very good planning tool. You said, what's coming next? Hopefully, Coordinate Pay is going to be rolled out across multiple states so everybody can coordinate, especially the project owners coming in from out of state into Pennsylvania. They can put their projects in, especially if they're on the border or overlapping. It'll just facilitate everything a lot smoother.
Yeah. So in the excavation world or the utilities world, do you see anything any new tools or techniques? I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of things out in the field.
I see a lot of things that aren't necessarily always good.
That's another, yeah.
Sometimes the traditional methods usually work a lot better. I don't know of necessarily any new tools out there.
Okay.
Like people are still using the vac trucks. They're still
And that's,
potholing
I
and
mean,
spotting.
the vac truck is fairly new, right? That really has taken, I guess, in the past like 10 years, 15 years of the design of them and when they invented them and first started using them.
Their own trailers down, their own back of trucks, so they're not big machines.
Yeah.
They don't need 4 or 5 wheels. You can just put on a trailer. And,
yeah, the smaller ones.
Yep.
And there's all kinds of features and benefits. So, I mean, we just discussed a lot of topics here real quick. And at the heart of this is for us to help out somebody before they dig something, call 811. And also, there is further education out there. So if you are a excavation company and maybe you're the guy that's doing the excavation, running the equipment, and at night you're coming home doing paperwork, there's a lot, but you can save a lot of time and learn a lot. And also, you guys are doing safety day trainings. From what I understand, it's a free service, right?
Yep, it's a free conference.
So it's a conference I can go to. I can get educated on some of the topics, but can you discuss a little bit about that?
Yeah,
Jay?
so Safety Day, that's our bread and butter at PA One Call. We're going to have multiple 811 sessions. So if you're new to the company, you're going to learn everything that you need to know about 811, from design, from excavation to non-responsive from facility owners, and we're going to have multiple facility industry experts also. We'll have somebody talking about back truck, we'll have somebody from PHMSA, we'll have somebody from OSHA at our sessions. And like I said, we're doing 5 across the state. They're heavily attended, and at the very end, we give away prizes. We have a big keynote speaker. Last year, our keynote speaker was somebody that was buried alive, and then we got somebody that struck a live electric line with a jackhammer. This year's keynote name's John Bricks. He gives a big, powerful safety message. Like I said, our keynote speakers are great. They're world-renowned. And we're doing 5 safety days across the state. Our first one is coming up in Canonsburg and Erie, PA. Those are our first 2 in Western PA. You can find those at our website, pa1call.org/safety day. But again, we're doing 5 across the state in Erie, Canonsburg, PA, York, PA, Oaks, PA, and Wilkesboro, PA.
All right. So if you want to find out information, what's the website? Give it to us again.
www.pa1call.org/safety day.
And it's a free conference seminar. You just got to sign up and show up. And that's another thing for safety. If you are a smaller company, it's just good to sharpen your saw and understand, and also bump elbows with people that are in the industry too, right? Like if you have people coming from that large of a distance, you will learn something from that. So
we'll have a heavy outdoor vendor area also. That's going to have a bunch of heavy equipment. So you want to learn about heavy equipment and look about purchasing some new heavy equipment. I'm sure those vendors outside would appreciate you stopping by also.
Those yellow equipment usually do have a salesperson with them on those days. But yes, I would say this to everybody else too. When you think about the construction industry and we're always looking for somebody, there's always a need, right? There's all these opportunities. It doesn't have to be you're a pipe installer or stormwater. There's all these different avenues inside of the construction industry, and the more that you know, the more options you have. So, hey, I want to thank you for coming here today. Thank you for doing this. If you ever want to tell us some crazy stories, we would definitely be listening to them, but that'll be on the next episode. We'll plan on attending or sending somebody at least to one of these safety days. And if you're there at the safety days, we'll put it on our LinkedIn, which one we're going to attend and where. Please stop, say hi. I would say this too. If you like it, share it with somebody. We're putting it out on LinkedIn. You can find it anywhere out there, the Brubacher and Beyond podcast. So until next time, thank you for your time today. Thank you for listening to the Brubacher podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our podcast so you can listen to new episodes every month. Share it with your friends in the industry and those who might like to learn more about the construction industry. Feel free to check us out on our website at www.brubacher.net. We hope you found the discussion insightful, and we look forward to the next time.